We're noticing these time fluctuations. We're noticing gravity fluctuations, not just gravity of the Earth, but gravity along 3 axes is fluctuating. So we're looking at a very bizarre condition.
Absolutely.
That the only thing in science that even remotely could explain it would be some type of wormhole activity.
Some sort of quantum physics.
So we start thinking about it and we think, okay, a wormhole has a holographic boundary over the throat. What if these apparitions that are seen are projections on that holographic boundary? So if you're standing right in front of a throat, you're going to see something. But if you're standing 5 feet over, it's like a flat screen TV.
Okay.
You're not seeing it anymore because you're
makes
not
sense.
looking down the throat. Now, if you're on a battlefield like at Gettysburg and you see a battle being reenacted and then it just kind of fades away, it may be that residual haunting isn't residual haunting at all. You're literally looking back to the actual event as it's taking place in history and seeing it as it took place.
So it's a tear in time more than space at that point.
You're connecting 2 points in time, and you're witnessing it because you're lined up with the throat and you've got a good visual range of the holographic boundary.
But if you were to move over, you would lose the vision.
You'd miss it. That's why you can have a group of people, one person sees something, a person 5 feet away was looking the same place and didn't see anything.
Makes sense.
It sort of, if it's true, explains a lot of things.
Granted.
We have a lot of evidence, but we don't have evidence to make a firm saying that's what it is. What we're saying is it looks very promising that may be what it is. And what I believe is that's what it is.
Right. I can see why.
But building the proof is going to take time, and it's going to take other people replicating the work and coming up with the same answer.
Absolutely.
So, but we feel pretty confident that may be what it is.
Now, do you think that one day soon we're going to find a way to predict when and where wormholes might open?
Yeah, I do. I do think that. We have to do it right now at the locality, though.
Right.
We're not going to be able to do it from a far-off place. How we're doing it is I built a device that is designed to locate the emerging point of data, because what we found is that the EMF that creates EVP is emerging into the environment.
Coming from nowhere?
Well, yeah. It appears to us to be
Seemingly.
coming from elsewhere because it's emerging into the environment. I think it's emerging out of the wormhole. But what we're doing is we're taking 4 sensors in a room and we're detecting EMF. When we start to get EMF, we're able to adjust those sensors to locate the exact point where its origin is in the room. And then we can throw everything we have at that spot and try to map out exactly what's going on. I think by scanning the room and looking for the initial EMF to emerge, we can say, we've got about 30 seconds before we have a full-fledged wormhole event.
Okay.
Now, can we say it's going to happen an hour from now? No.
Right.
But we can tell when it's coming
just
on.
Get lucky.
And it's enough time to get everything in place. So how we discovered it the first time was a pure accident.
Right.
Being at the right place at the right time with the right gear running.
Yeah.
Now that we know what to look for, and we're able to at least see the precursor before it fully forms and get stuff there so we can map it when it does form.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, wormholes can open on like a molecular level, so that's got to be really difficult.
Subatomic level,
right.
even.
That's got to be really difficult to pin that down.
Sure. Like I say, the key right now is the emerging EMF. That gives us the best clue we've got. The EMF emerges from a specific point in the room, and it allows us to try to map out the area of effect. And so far, with paranormal phenomena, the area of effect is no bigger than 2 meters and seems to be as small sometimes as several inches.
Oh.
So we're dealing with a pretty wide spectrum of size, but nothing huge.
Is there a difference in energy based on the size?
Not really.
That's strange.
The energy isn't different, but the frequency of the EMF is different.
Okay.
The smaller the hole, the higher the frequency of the EMF.
Which would make sense with the frequency of wormholes.
So the larger holes, you tend to have more lower frequencies down around 4, 5, 6 hertz. So that's kind of fascinating. Most of the stuff that we've found that's associated with any type of reported apparitions seems to be fairly up in the 2 meter range as far as size.
Okay.
It's big enough to where it can actually, you could actually detect something or see something man-size.
Okay.
At least. So.
Now, is there anything that the average person sitting at home listening to this can do to help bring science into the paranormal realm?
The key thing is understand the equipment you're using. Understand what it does, what it's really measuring, and what that means. and then how to put that into context with the other equipment that you have and what that's telling you. I mean, understanding what you're doing with your equipment is vital to anything. Doing the same things with it over and over is vital. Like, you develop a routine.
Right.
What we do is, before we do an investigation, we'll go into a room and we'll work the room and map out any anomaly in the room that's occurring by working a grid pattern.
Right.
And in my book, I preach using the grid pattern over and over again, because we take a sheet and lay out the room in graph paper, and we make notes on it of any little anomaly we find, and we leave it with the room. And then when the next we divide up into different teams and go all through a place. The next team comes through, they pick up the clipboard and add whatever they experience to it.
Very cool.
So by the end of the night, we have a record of the room, both of people's personal experiences, and if we're running data logging information, we've got real-time data logging data to go back at and correlate with people's personal experiences.
So the consistency of the experiment is there with different viewpoints from different people.
You repeat it ad nauseum over and over again, so your data has meaning.
Great.
And it puts it all into context. So it doesn't matter if you took a measurement on June 4th, 2010, or August 15th, 2011, because you followed the same exact protocol, the data is correlated with the data that you got earlier, and that gives it strength. And the other thing is to religiously follow the scientific method. And if you don't know what the scientific method is, look it up and memorize it.
Right.
Observe something, develop a guess as to what you think it might be, design an experiment to try to prove that your guess is correct, and then modify your experiment when it isn't.
Right.
And you keep going through the process over and over again until you refine what it is that you're looking for. If you can follow those steps, and really it's high school science.
Right.
I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to do it.
Not at all.
You just have to be able to be disciplined enough to do the same things over and over again without altering it. And I think you'll go far doing that, regardless of what level your education is or what your experience is.
Right. Just got to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, and it's all about luck. A lot of it has to do with luck.
Yeah.
Amazingly. We can't predict it to the point of saying, oh yeah, that place is haunted. It looks haunted, but we can't say that that's the fact until we actually go in and get that data. So until you actually make the discovery, it's a crapshoot.
Right.
And it always will be, I think.
Yeah. Now, do you have any books or anything that our listeners could follow you more on?
I have a book out called Paranormal Technology, Understanding the Science of Ghost Hunting. And in it, my presentation tonight is actually based on a book. In it, I take each piece of equipment that's used, and I explain what it measures, how to use it, effectively. I even tell people the best brands of that equipment to buy and where you can get it the cheapest and that sort of stuff.
Great.
And I do a lot to debunk a lot of gadgets out there that are being sold to make money.
There's a lot of junk, for sure.
And I know I'm gonna get questions about some of it tonight.
Yeah, it's never fun because you got to put your neck out. But
well, you know what I do? I kind of take a neutral stand on it, and I explain why it's useless.
Right.
I don't say it's garbage. I'm saying if you are talking to the dead, there's no way to prove it, because you can't quantify the information you're being given, because there's 1,000 other things that could be given it to you, and there's no way to differentiate
that is the
between those sources.
Exact device I had in mind.
And that's the most politically correct way to handle it.
We can't speak to ghosts, so who programmed this thing to say what they're saying?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Right. Awesome. Again, this was David Rountree. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for talking with me.
Absolutely.